Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hello, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. So I am coming at you from my living room floor, mess all around me, me looking a mess, but this is the reality of literally having a newborn. I literally don't have the time to do anything. I have such an unsettled baby. I wouldn't say so much unsettled, well she is, unless she's literally clinging on to me, so I literally can get nothing done. So she is currently sleeping right now, so that I thought I'd try and get this video filmed and ready to go up so that I don't get too far behind on uploads. But like I said, I apologise for looking like this and everything else, but yeah, this is just the true reality. So today's video is going to be a labour and delivery / postpartum Q&A. This video was requested and a lot of you sent in questions for me to answer. So if you do want to take part in videos like this again, I will link my Instagram down here somewhere on the screen, and you can take part in the next one when I upload it on Instagram. So without further ado, we're going to get straight on into the video. So the first question is, what was your next name you would have chosen if you didn't choose Penelope? So we actually really struggled with baby names. We actually struggled more with boy names than we did girl names, but it was still a big struggle. So it was kind of lucky that we did find out that we were having a girl, because me and James just couldn't agree on any names whatsoever. Even with girls' name we couldn't agree. But if we hadn't have chose Penelope, she's such a noisy little sausage. If we hadn't chosen Penelope, she would have been an Olive. We really like the name Olive, but the only reason that we didn't choose it was, I think it's a name of some relation to James on his side somewhere. So we chose not to use that name, but we still really loved it. Yeah, she would have been an Olive. Question 2, what pain relief did you have? So I actually started off with nothing, and I laboured for quite a while without any pain relief. I think it was about 4 or 5 hours that I didn't have any, and then I opted for gas and air for again a couple of hours. And then obviously if you watched my labour story, if you haven't, I will link it in the card above. I then opted for an epidural because I was having back labour, and back labour, if anyone's had it, knows how painful it is, and gas and air just wasn't cutting it. So question 3 actually links into the last question that I answered, and it is, why were you so against an epidural? So it wasn't a case that I was so against it, it's just probably more of the fact that I read so many horror stories about it. Obviously you do your research on all sorts of pain relief that you can have during labour, and obviously there is a lot of side effects, and they do even tell you before you have your epidural all the side effects, which is why they get you to sign paperwork. I just had a fear of, one, big needles, because the needle for the epidural is absolutely massive. Ask James, he nearly passed out. The fact that I didn't like the fact of not being able to feel my lower half also scared me. And third of all was the fact that you could be paralysed if it goes wrong. Like, that's it, you can lose mobility from the waist down. And also number 4 was it actually not working, because a lot of people have said that they've had an epidural and it's not actually worked. So they are sort of the main reasons that I was not against it, but it was like, I'm only having it if it's like an absolute must, like I have to go for a C-section or whatever. Obviously I ended up having forceps delivery anyway, so I would have ended up having to have one anyway, for them to go ahead and do the forceps delivery. So even though I decided I wanted one, in the end, if I hadn't have wanted one, I would have ended up having to have one anyway. So it's not that I was against it, it was just probably more me and my anxiety, and wanting my body just to do it naturally and only on gas and air or nothing at all, basically. Question 4 is, would you change anything about the labour? I'd probably change a lot, but at the same time I wouldn't, because it was an experience in itself and it brought Penelope into the world the way that it went. I'd probably say if I could change anything, it would probably be how long I was in labour for. Like the process of what happened wasn't really a big thing for me. It was more the fact that I was just so tired, and would have rather it have been over with in like 8 hours or whatever, rather than well over 24 hours. So the only thing I'd probably change is the fact that my labour was, for me anyway personally, was really long, and obviously nothing was happening. So that's probably the one thing that I'd change about my labour, but at the same time nothing at all, because I'd do it again. Even though I said no, I wouldn't do it again, I absolutely 100% would, even in the same order that it happened. With Penelope, I definitely do it all again. I think we all say that we wouldn't, but once the pain has gone and we have our little bundles of joy, we kind of forget it and we're like, yeah, we'll do it again. Question 6 was, how did you find the birth pool? I think this is a question that was asked because obviously I had mentioned that I wanted a water birth, and I was very, very lucky in the sense that obviously I got a water birth. And well, I wouldn't say so much a water birth, but I got to use the birth pool is what I should say, because I didn't actually give birth in the pool. I absolutely loved it. It was so nice. It did actually really help with the pain. When I was labouring in the birth pool, the midwives obviously time your contractions, and they couldn't actually tell when I was having a contraction because I was so calm, but that was purely down to the fact that the water was actually easing the pain quite a lot for me. So I absolutely loved it. So I do absolutely 100% recommend it. The only thing that I'd probably change about using the birth pool is not going in it so soon, because I feel like it definitely did slow my contractions down a lot, which is why I was only in there really for 3 hours. Just because I myself could sense that I felt like my contractions were almost coming to a stop, but as soon as I got out, they started to pick up again. So I definitely say, if you're going to have a water birth, then definitely try and labour for as long as you can out of the water before going in, because for me personally it definitely did slow my contractions down, but I absolutely loved it. It was so nice. What's the hardest thing now being at home with a newborn? I think the hardest thing for me being home now with a newborn is trying to get into a new routine. So obviously Summer is 8 and she's at school, so it's adapting and working around getting her to school and around her. Obviously a lot of my attention is on Penelope, so it's still trying to find that balance in being able to spend time with Summer, so that she doesn't feel like she's being pushed out. And yes, it has been hard, but we are slowly getting there. Obviously, like I said, Penelope is very much a clingy baby and will only settle on someone. She doesn't actually like being put down. The only time we can actually put her down like she is now is when she's had a bottle and she's fully conked, and I'm able to put her down for maybe an hour or so. But yeah, that's probably been the hardest thing about being home, is adapting to a whole new routine and just generally adapting to having a newborn in the house again for me. You know, before we were just able to up and leave out the house and not think twice. Now we have to make sure, obviously, Penelope's bag's prepared, bottles are prepared, that we've got everything, that we're not leaving when she's due, literally a feed within 5 minutes. Like, it is all very, very new again, but we are getting there. So I'd say that's probably the hardest thing, is just getting a new routine. What's your method of feeding? So I think I spoke about this in like vlogs and stuff, that I was 100% set on just bottle feeding formula, which I did start off doing, but by day 3 my milk came in. As you ladies will know that have had babies, your milk comes in, your boobs become so sore, so hard. They look amazing, but they become very, very painful, and I could not cope with the pain like having paracetamol just wasn't like cutting it, so I decided to actually deflate them by hand expressing some of the breast milk. And whilst I was doing this, I thought to myself, actually, if this is going to be anything like it was when I had summer, I had my milk in for 7 or 8 months, regardless of how tight of a bra that I wore, and tried everything to stop my milk from obviously carry on being produced. Obviously I wanted it to dry up. It didn't, and I was leaking for absolute ages. So I thought, if this is going to be the case, then I may as well make use of it. So I actually decided to then start expressing and feeding her through a bottle, and then I then decided to actually try and breastfeed. So we are combi feeding, so I am part breastfeeding now and part formula, because my breast milk just doesn't fill her up. So we are literally like on the boob and then a bottle, just to be able to fill her up. So I am actually now combi feeding, and it is actually the best thing ever. I didn't breastfeed with Summer, and I think that was more down to age and embarrassment, whereas obviously now I'm a bit older, I think it's probably the best decision that I actually made. So yeah, I was definitely set on just bottle feeding, but actually when it comes to it, it actually changed my mind. So always have an open mind, even if you do think like you're 100% set on just like bottle feeding or breastfeeding or whatever, do just have an open mind with it. Would you say you had a positive labour and delivery? Absolutely. Like, as much as I say that it was hard, and it definitely wasn't like traumatic or anything, like obviously there was a lot of complications and things, but I definitely say it was very positive. Like, I pretty much got everything that I wanted during my labour and delivery. I still got to use the birth pool, I still got to use gas and air, I still got to walk around and be mobile, like I still got to do all that. Yeah, I still got to do all that. And the same with the delivery after, like they delayed the cord clamping, I got skin to skin, you know, like I got everything that I initially wanted in my birth plan, but just with some added extras. Like, it just didn't fully go the way that I wanted it to. I was still home literally the next day, I think because of the time that obviously I gave birth, and obviously with me having the epidural and then having a catheter fitted and things, was the only reason that I didn't get sent home the same day. I think if I'd given birth to her in the morning, I would have been sent home that day. And like, all the staff were lovely, midwives were amazing, surgeons, consultants, like literally everyone made it such a positive experience as well, even when I thought that I couldn't do it anymore, and you know, when I was sort of getting panicked because I was worried about like the consequences for Penelope with being in there so long, having my waters broken, and then being like her being delivered by forceps and all that. They were absolutely amazing. So I definitely say it was a very positive experience regardless of how it went. You can always find the positives in the negatives, but I can safely say that yes, it was positive, and she arrived happy, healthy and safely, which is the main thing that you want. And I was perfectly fine after, obviously just very tired, but yeah, I definitely say it was very positive. Question 10 is Penelope your last baby? Obviously for a lot of people that know me, I said I probably wouldn't do it again, but at the same time I absolutely would do it again. I didn't mentally or physically prepare for her to be my last, so I think if I was to say that she was my last, I'd probably be quite upset about it, just because I want that time to mentally prepare for a baby to be my last. Is there going to be a rush to have any more? Absolutely not. I'm going to make the most of my time with Penelope, just like I did with Summer. I know Summer's 8, and obviously time isn't on my side. I have always said that I didn't want any more kids after I'm 30, so it would have to be within the next 5 years. So I don't want to say yes, she's my last, and I don't want to say no, she isn't, but at the same time I want to say that no, she isn't going to be my last, just because I haven't had time to prepare for her to be my last. Like, I want to go into a pregnancy thinking, right, she's going to be my last, I'm going to make the absolute most of this, take photos, you know, do everything, and just mentally prepare for a baby to be your last, because that is kind of it. Once you decide that a baby's going to be your last, I already have chronic baby blues. Like, I miss my bump, I miss being pregnant. As much as I say that it was hard and I moaned probably all the time and I was in so much pain, and obviously I was like in and out of hospital and things, I generally get really upset about not actually being pregnant and being able to feel her move, even though she's here, and I absolutely love being here and I'm absolutely making the most of her being here because they grow so quickly. But at the same time, I've had quite chronic baby blues, and it's not really something that I've spoke about with anyone. But yeah, I definitely don't want to say that she is my last, but at the same time, like, she possibly could be. So yeah, I can't really answer that question. So yeah, I'm just gonna probably leave it at that. I think she's waking up. Like, I'm just casually sat here like rocking her, and I think it's almost time to wake up. Final question is, what's your advice for mamas expecting and for after delivery? So I definitely say be very open-minded going into your labour and delivery. Trust your gut instinct. Stay calm. Everything happens for a reason. They have your best interests at heart if things don't go the way that you want it. Obviously just take it as it comes. Obviously you know your body better than anyone else, so if you don't agree with something that the midwife or doctor or consultant or anyone is saying, then speak up, because you don't necessarily have to agree with what they're saying. You know your baby, so just go with your instinct. And for after delivery, I definitely say please rest. Absolutely do rest up. I literally came home the next day and was up trying to do everything, purely because I felt good. Like, I didn't feel like, I felt a bit sore, and I was finding it hard to walk because obviously all my organs are trying to come down. So like my chest and like in my belly felt really heavy, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, but I was still up doing things, trying to get things done around the house. And after about 5 days, it started to catch up with me. I then became very tired. I feel like I went backwards, so like everything sort of down in that area, obviously where I had stitches and stuff, became very painful and very sore. Yeah, I just, and then the after pains hit me. I think that was probably more so because I decided to obviously breastfeed, and they always say your after pains with your second is a lot worse, which I totally agree with. They were so painful. But definitely rest up. Make sure your partners or whoever is home helping and supporting you, let them do everything. Resting is probably one thing that I regret not doing. Literally just rest up, sit with your baby, and yeah, don't be afraid to ask people to do things for you, because you definitely need that time to rest, regardless of whether you've done it naturally, assisted delivery or cesarean. Like, childbirth is a big thing, so I definitely say for after delivery, just rest up for sure. So that is going to go ahead and conclude today's video. I really do hope that you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, please don't forget to smash the thumbs up and also click the subscribe button. I am hoping that I will be back into the swing of things properly and won't be sat on my living room floor filming a video. But other than that, I'm going to leave this here, and I'll see you in a brand new video very, very soon. Bye.